Cop28, let's talk about it now. So the fear is that it could end in deadlock today after some nations reacted furiously to a draft deal which only called for a reduction, not a banning, of fossil fuels.
Well, climate activists and some leaders have lashed out at the drafting, calling it weak. They say it removed language which included a previous text suggesting that fossil fuels could be phased out. OK,
let's talk to Jim Dale, meteorologist and social commentator. Jim, I'm sure you're disappointed, but did you really expect anything more? I mean, you may have wished for something more, but did you expect anything more?
Yeah, it's not quite over yet. Good morning, by the way, to the pair of you. Yeah, it's not quite over yet. The draft is still being negotiated. I know this has come out and it's unlikely to be changed. So, yeah, the inevitable, I think, has arrived. I think, look, the noises were there almost at the beginning when this COP28 was held in the place that it's been held at, and they're going to defend it. It's Dracula defending his blood banks. He's not going to move away from it. So the watering down is not going to affect anybody this year. What will happen as far as climate change is concerned, and the impacts that are going to come from that on not even the next 5 years. What we're actually talking about is the next 10, 20 years. Your kids, your grandkids, this sort of thing. This is what they're going to be reaping if this COP28 is going to deliver in the way that it looks like it's going to.
You've been tweeting this morning saying if it does conclude in the way that it sounds as though it's going to, that this is a triumph of greed. Tell us more. Yeah.
Well, profit, greed over sanity. I think we've all got to use our common sense as far as this is concerned. And fossil fuels, the oil industry, have put us there, and they've got to start taking the foot off the pedal. That's the phasing out bit rather than necessarily, you know, it's not going to stop tomorrow. Oil will still be going in the next 10 years, 20 years. But it's the wording. I use the word intent. What are these COPs all about? Is getting to a point where you've got the intent to actually deliver. And what this watering down does show that there is no intent, and that the greed and the profit side of things will continue on until COP29, which is in another, I believe, another oil state somewhere in the Middle East, the Far East somewhere. But nonetheless, it is disappointing. You're right with this. So that's what you come up against. You're coming up against vested interests, and that's where we are.
Cedric Schuster of Samoa, he's the chair of the Alliance of Small Island States, said that we will not sign our death certificate. We cannot sign on to text that does not have a strong commitment to the phasing out of fossil fuels. Just tell us, how is it decided where the next COP summits take place? Is it like the Olympics where you have to bid, or, you know, surely this needs to be more of a discussion about exactly where this should be hosted?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually how it actually circulates, how you actually get onto it and say, oh, we're going to hold it. Obviously, there's a lot of money involved. Yeah, you've got to be able to hold these things in terms of having the infrastructure, the capability, you know, with all the thousands of people who turn up unnecessarily. In my mind, I think there needs to be a change of gear here. I really think this needs to be taken back to the United Nations, back to the point where countries can make the decision away from vested interests such as the oil companies, the fossil fuel companies. So look, it's going to be held in another oil set. I can't remember which one it is. One of the I think it's can remember the name of it, somewhere in the Middle East anyway, or in that sort of zone, and it's the same again. It's the replay that's going to go on and on and on. So this is very disappointing, Isabel. I really think that unless there's a massive change in the next few hours, then, you know, it's almost pointless in holding the COP in the first instance. If all that's going to happen is the same evolution, the same revolution of oil going out there,
Jim,
and not being capped, not being phased out in years to come.
I've got to phase you out, Jim. Thanks very much indeed. Appreciate that.